Vincent Toro here. Yes, you made it. Great. All right, our last poet reading today is Vincent Toro. He made it. He's the author of 2 books of poetry, Stereo.Island.Mosaic, which won the Poetry Society of America's Norma Farber First Book Award. And a couple of years ago, Penguin published his second book, Tertulia. Vincent is a poet who appears in the new issue of Smartish Pace. And once this is over, there are some copies of Smartish Pace out there that are free, so please pick those up. But anyways, it was a great thrill for me to have new poems from Vincent for Smartish Pace, wonderful poems. And Vincent is also an assistant professor of English at Rider University, is a Dodge Foundation poet, and is a contributing editor for Kweli Literary Journal. Please welcome Vincent Toro.
Thanks for having me, everybody. We'll get you out of here soon. So yeah, I want to thank Stefan for publishing a couple of my poems and for inviting me here. So I thought I'd open with a new poem from the book. It's one of my newer pieces, and it's about him. We're the problem, right? It's pretty clear. So this is called Prelude, the Macho. Choreographies. Get to that age now. Okay, let's get the glasses off. Because we could not love each other, we slapped each other in the back of the head during social studies class. We snapped backsides with wet towels. I once choked a Maori on his living room floor because I could not love him. Anthony cracked about my twig legs, tripped me in the hallways, pinched my nipples until they were raw, claiming it was all a test to see how tough I was, because we could not love each other. Alex flicked my ears until I agreed to bounce his head off the table at a pizza party. Mario slid into me at second base so hard he toppled me, his spikes carving my ankle into a spigot that turned my socks in the infield scarlet. All because he could not love me. My father, he took the efforts to pin me to earth and paint my arms viridian with bruises that I had to hide under long sleeves on a sweltering May school day. We spent decades digging the barbed craters into one another in allegiance to the unetched edict drafted to convince us that a hug between us would incite sickness. Because we could not love each other, we became the sickness that compelled a former student to shout, "No homo though," after telling me he liked my shirt. Years ago, I found myself awestruck as I witnessed 5 men stroll down Atakule Boulevard in Turkey, holding hands. I feigned shock to cloak a longing. Today, I wonder what peace we all might have found if we could be as brave as those men. Once, in an intoxicated state, a friend told me he thought that I had lovely ears. We laughed for decades at his solemn plaudit, but he never once exhibited shame for the declaration. I've never admitted until now how that lifted me, how astonishing it was to hear that I had something pleasing about it. Instead of offering thanks, I teased him for his outburst, depriving us both of a gift that might have abated the furies haunting us. Fervently, we serve as hosts to this colonial basilisk, spellbound by the macho tangled up in our beards, too timorous to shave it off and become warbling zapatarens. We immure ourselves with petrified blusters. Daily, we fracture a friend's femur and crookedly call it brotherhood. Shove every pretty fellow we meet into the brig, because we cannot love each other. Because my book came out in 2020 at the height of the pandemic, I never got to tour my book. So if you'll indulge me, I want to close with 2 poems from my book, Tertulia. which I'll quickly say, a tertulia is a kind of, it's equal parts party and social justice, like March and social justice movement. It's an event that's really widely known in Latin America and also in Spain, particularly in fascist dictatorship times, when you couldn't just walk down the street or gather in groups because it was that dangerous. You'd throw a party, you'd say, oh, we're just having a few friends over, and you dance and sing, and you recite poems, and people would perform and play guitar and play music, and there'd be like really great food and more wine, and in the back there'd be political organizing going on. And so my book was named after that concept I was hoping in the book, and that's how I see poetry as a technique, right? And these kind of events. So I'm just going to give you two short pieces from it. The first is about a kind of revolution. It's called Mutiny at the Elder Care Facility. And it's about my bisabuela. It's a true story. And for the gringos, bisabuela is great-grandmother. Just pa que tú lo sepas. Okay? So, Chacho. They had to order oh wow, I'm sorry, it's been 2 years. Yo, they had to summon 4 orderlies and my aunt to confiscate the knife that bisabuela stashed in her bloomers. Snatched during breakfast, she held the blade to her chest like a cross, as the impious attempted to strip the shiv that was her only protection. From what? At 90, bisabuela drives the men of the home to act like hormone-glutted teens, to pitch their wheelchair chairs before her wing in the hopes of catching just one whiff of her Vicks Vapor Rub. She had to get all Roberto Duran on one for trying to woo her during Sábado Gigante. It's been 6 weeks now, and no nurse's aide has been able to wash or feed her. She doesn't need them anymore. When viper-headed ex-husbands poached and depleted her oars, she swayed like a weary Vanyang but never cracked. And even when despots occupied the coast and forced her to replant herself in a city that worked double shifts to give her hypothermia, she was a bulwark, committing her own brand of insurgency by refusing to learn their language, vowing to one day reclaim her villita and never again set foot on the mainland for all her remaining days. But her damn kids, they made her return. Just because she forgot to turn the stove off one time. Now some infant in scrubs insist on wiping her. Well, she's had enough. Gone. She's keeping that knife. And anybody that tries to take it or anything else from her ever again can be sure to feel its bite. All right, so I'll leave you with this last one. It's called The Case for Spanglish. Just so you know, I don't speak Spanish. I'm a New Yorker, I speak Spanglish. And I try to do this one everywhere because here's the deal, folks. The U.S. hates Latinx folks. The U.S. works 48 hours a day to try to erase us. But I got news for y'all. We ain't going anywhere. We were here first. I like to tell y'all, by the way, even our colonizers were here before y'all. Okay, our colonizers were here before your colonizers. All right, so we've been here a long time, we ain't going anywhere. And this is the case for Spanglish. Because a corazón is more resilient than a heart. Sangre, richer than blood. Because when my abuelo's spleen ruptured right there on Queens Boulevard, he yanked himself up with nothing but smog to hold on to and walked home 15 blocks before collapsing on the bathroom floor. That takes babita. Simple courage won't do. Because songs are nice, but a canción bathes inside the veins. The dank-dim nightclub lounges of my youth gave me confidence, it's true. But only Hector Lavoe's rooster calls can resurrect the dead. Only Celia Cruz's Azúcar incites warring tribes to fall in love. Because an abrazo can shield you from famine and flame. A hug simply lacks that kind of source. Because bochinche is both science and art. It can turn men into rats and spread through the respiratory system like a viral infection. Gossip is clearly no match for bochinche. Because el sol is spirit, the sun its child. Because árboles are monasteries for the lost, while men don't think twice about felling trees. Because Dios inspires humility like no God can. And because vida blossoms from the mouth like a fulgent garden, whereas life is really the title of a children's game, a syllable in search of life. Thank you so much.